A very warm welcome and good evening, everyone. Shikha this side on behalf of MT Care. We have today Kinnari Shah as a host of today's session. She is a psychologist and art therapist with an academic background in both India and UK. She is passionate about making mental health conversation approachable and helping people understand themselves through creative and evidence-informed practices. So now, without making our audience to wait further, I would like to make request to Kinnari. Please take over and address all of us.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Kinnari Shah, a psychologist and an art therapist. I hope you all can hear me and see me very well.
We are able to hear you, Kinnari, but I think your voice is a little faint. If you can be a little loud, maybe that would help.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for such a warm welcome. Is this better?
Yeah, much better.
Thank you so much. Hi, I am Kinnari Shah, a psychologist and an art therapist. First of all, thank you all for being here today and thank you for taking out the time, especially in the middle of a work day, I'm assuming. So, on the occasion of World Self Care Day, I really want to start with asking you all a question about self care. Okay, but before I get there, thank you, IMT Care, for giving me this wonderful opportunity on such a beautiful occasion. And self care and art therapy, I think, goes well hand in hand. So thank you so much for that. And now to begin with, I'm just gonna ask a question to all of you. Um, when you hear the word self-care, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? You all can just, write down in the chat box if you have the access to it. I'm assuming they have the access to it.
Yes, Canary, they have.
Great, awesome. So if everyone could, just write down what does self-care mean to them in general.
Also, we can unmute someone. So if someone wants to raise hand and if Canary chooses them, we can allow you to unmute and you can talk.
Okay, perfect. So if anyone wants to, create. So after she says sleep, a peaceful walk, journaling to relax my mind. Ramya says feeling happy about myself. Yes, great. So I usually hear things like, um, often I hear things like vacations, spa days, sleeping, Netflix, or something like that. And honestly, all those are also self-care. Uh, Pragna says, I self body care and myself. Yash says choosing habits that keep you healthy and at peace. So honestly, yes, all of those things are definitely a part of self-care. But today, on the occasion of World Self-Care Day, I want us to look at much simpler things, right? Because self-care is not something that we do once a year. It's something that we practice on a daily basis, right? In small ways, every single day. And today, I am going to introduce you to self-care through creativity. Yeah. Also, just one important thing about today's session, it is that you don't really have to be good at art. Okay. Like I said, um, the workshop name is Recharge Through Art, but that does not mean that you have to be really good at art. Nobody is judging your drawing today. I am not even going to do that. I just want you to enjoy your process. That's it. Okay. So moving on. Uh, if anyone could tell me, why do you think that we are here today in the chat box? With that, I would also add another for a restart. Yes, absolutely. Team Bhuj says to recharge. Yes. So as you can see on the screen, to pause, to reflect, to create, and to recharge is the thing that we are here for, right? I have one more question for all of you. How many of you have ever felt, mentally exhausted, even though you did not do anything which is physically tiring? You can just raise your hands or, type the messages, anything. Okay, to learn something new. There are multiple raised hands also. So definitely most of us, we do feel mentally exhausted, even if we have not gone for that gym exercise or probably our yoga practice, or you've reached the end of the day and wondered, like, where did my whole day go? Right? Most of us are constantly doing something, working, replying to messages, thinking about that email, taking care of family, running errands, and but there are very rare phases where we actually pause, right? So today's workshop is simply giving ourselves the permission to pause for a little while, right? To slow down, to reflect, to reconnect with ourselves. And that's exactly why I have put these words on the slide here, which is pause, reflect, create, and recharge. Yeah. So if any of you have any questions related to different activities that we will be doing moving forward, feel free to message in the chat box or just, raise your hand so that the host can unmute you where you want to, share your thoughts or anything. I have two activities lined up for us. Both of these will be art related activities. You do not require fancy crayons, you do not require sketch pens. A simple paper and a pen will also be enough. But if you definitely want to add colors in it, you're welcome to add. That's exactly why we kept asking you all to, have your colors and sketch pens ready at the same time. Okay, moving on. Um, yeah, my next question to all of you would be, what is self-care? Like you can see on the slide here that I have mentioned various ways of what it looks like and what it doesn't always look like. Yeah. I think social media has confused us all a little bit about self care. It often makes it look like, going on holidays or getting that coffee in from a very famous cafe. But self care is much more than that. Sometimes self care looks like drinking enough water, going to bed on time, taking a break, going for a walk, saying no when you are already exhausted, asking for enough help, right? So, like it is mentioned over here, that it doesn't always look like spa days. It doesn't have to look like expensive vacations. It doesn't have to look like being lazy. It doesn't have to look like being selfish and, escaping the responsibilities and being in your own bubble. It is okay to take breaks when you are practicing self care. Can you tell me what is the best form of self care that you have been practicing since a week or probably today? You can just mention it in the chat box so we are aware of what all different types of self care people are practicing these days. Chanting, yes, that's a great way to go about. Workout and music, yes. Taking breaks, 100%. Not eating junk food, yes. Singing bowl, I'm not sure about what that is, but singing is something that I absolutely love. Journaling really helps me, and sometimes sitting alone and watching the skies or birds, driving, absolutely, reading books, talking to ourselves instead of scrolling, going to the gym, practicing yoga. You see how everyone is coming up with different types of self care. So, self care is basically asking yourself, what do I need right now? And giving yourself permission to meet that need. I see there are wonderful self care practices coming in the chat box. Thank you all for sharing and being so active in the workshop today. Honestly, this is my first online workshop and I was nervous to start this and I was panicking a little bit, but because you guys have been responding so well, I really enjoyed this process. Thank you very much. Right? Okay. Thank you for sharing all of this. Now we're gonna move on to what is art therapy. right? There are multiple reasons wherein people come to me saying that art therapy, I have to be really good at art. Do I have to be, great at drawing? And I remember back then when I was little, I used to give my elementary and intermediate exams wherein we had to be really good at memory drawing, which I absolutely sucked at. I think most of us did, right? And today it's not about that kind of art therapy. Today we're just going to play around with some colors, pens, doodles, and we're going to just practice art meditation with the same activities, right? Sometimes it's easier to express our emotions in the form of drawing instead of talking about it. Have you ever been asked what is wrong and you've replied, I don't know what is wrong with me. I get so many clients who come up to me and say, I don't know what is happening to me. I really don't know how to explain it to you. I don't know what words to use. And that's when art therapy comes to use, because emotions don't always come with words. Art gives us another way to express our emotions, and that is exactly why I became an art therapist. I have always been fond of different colors because colors give meaning to life, right? My favorite color is blue, and I often play around with different shades of blue, and I'm sure everyone might have different shades which they are attracted to. Sometimes, Sandeep says, sometimes people used to express these feelings in WhatsApp status. 100%. Definitely, I've seen so many pictures with different flowers and everything going around on WhatsApp status about what they are feeling, and they're trying to express this on WhatsApp status through different words and pictures from internet, right? So today we're going to learn simple techniques of how we can care for ourselves through art therapy, right? Today's activity is not about making beautiful drawings, is what my reminder will be again and again. They are just about noticing what you are feeling in the moment. And these activities are something that you can carry with yourself for a longer period of time. Something that you can resort to even without going to an art therapist, right? Something that you can do on a daily basis. Always rely on these activities and you may gain some new meaning out of it every time you practice it, right? Okay. All right. If anybody has any questions in the middle of the activities, feel free to message them on the chat box. I will definitely attend to it. Um, the three pointers that I've mentioned here on the art therapy slide is you can express emotions and increase self-awareness. That's the number one. Number two, it reduces your stress and improves your emotional regulation. Number three, it helps you gain new perspectives. That there is no right or wrong artwork today. Yeah. All right. We will move on to the next to the first activity that we're going to be doing in art therapy for self-care today, and that's called as a boundary circle. As you can see, there are three boundary circles. Sorry, there are four boundary circles that I have put up on this slide right now. Number one is the smallest one, which is you. Okay, so you belong there with a really nice smiley face. Okay, then comes the inner circle, then comes the middle circle, and then comes the outer circle. So imagine yourself in the center, yeah, drawing circles around yourself, representing different things like. So what I want you to do is on a single sheet of paper or anywhere, literally, you can just draw these circles. I have put them up on the slide for you to attend to. You can draw these circles, and then what you have to do is you can write down different people, different activities, family members, resting, hobbies. Okay. So you stand in the middle. What is it that you come closest to comes in the inner circle, something that you practice on a daily basis, something that you hold very close to yourself. Then comes the middle circle, wherein you give these people, these activities, this work opportunities, or these hobbies a little less important than the inner circle, is where you write down these things in the middle circle. Then comes the outer and the last circle. That is where all those people, all those priorities, all those work opportunities, all those hobbies and activities that you do will stay there. So, with the help of your pen, pencils, or colors, you can start drawing those things inside these circles, or you can write down in a very colorful way or a normal way in these circles of what you want to prioritize the most in the inner circle. Then comes the middle circle where you want to prioritize these things or activities or people a little bit less. And then comes the outer circle wherein you want to prioritize these people, these things, these activities even lesser, right? This makes sure that you are setting boundaries for yourself. That is exactly why you stand in the middle.